Well, it was pretty easy to destroy my chances and destroy my name. All they had to do was prevent me from being able to defend myself, slander me in public, and then prevent me from being able to defend myself. It was pretty easy. See, after being slandered by Natalie Bollinger in Virginia, I couldn't go talk to most of my friends because I couldn't go to Boulder without being threatened, harassed, or assaulted. And all of these people who told me that they loved me, they just didn't have time to give a shit. They did have time. They had plenty of time. They had plenty of time for playing video games, plenty of time for movies, plenty of time for smoking weed, plenty of time for heroin and methamphetamines. So they did have time. And after Natalie died, after over a year of bullshit harassment, assaults and threats, going to people who blew me off, people who promised to help, well, I'll give you one example. Amy and Andrew Witcher. But Andrew couldn't stay off the methamphetamines. Now, mind you, this is before Natalie was killed. After Natalie was killed, people did everything in their power to prevent me from being able to use my Facebook to communicate with my loved ones. And because I was never allowed to defend myself against that slander, never allowed to show that evidence when it made a difference, well, my life sucked. People say, oh, well, you had it coming. You shouldn't have posted stuff that's against Facebook rules. With all due respect, most of you post stuff that's against Facebook rules. Just today I had someone's comment banned because it was actual harassment. Stuff that I get a lot of. The police did some really fucked up shit. I'd been speaking out about the police for years. I'm not talking about talking out my ass. I'm talking about actual experience, actually seeing these things and actually having to deal with the police while they do these things to me and my loved ones. And you guys watch a show from Diane Sawyer or Tony Kovalevsky that shows what it is that I'm talking about. And when they say it, it's true, but somehow magically, when somebody who has actually lived through it tells you about it, they must be lying, especially if they have a penis. That's just gross. Now that's why it's so easy to destroy a man's life. If he's a good-looking man, it's a lot more difficult. But if he's not good-looking, he's easy to railroad. And that's just a fact. You just slander his name and people will harm him. You don't take him to court. You just slander his name in public and refuse to have a court date. I fought harder for a day in court than Natalie did by a long shot. While her friends and family harassed me, threatened me, and abused me, I got ignored because I have a penis and because I'm not pretty. I didn't even know how to take screenshots. Now the messages between Tim Beeson and I really show what a piece of shit he is. And also that I tried to be friendly. I tried hard to be friendly. I put up with his bullshit. I put up with his harassment. And he wasn't the only one who harassed me. A great many people did. Alicia Bollinger is a piece of shit. There is one thing that I want more than a gun to kill myself with. And that's an honest day in court and Alicia on the stand. You see, I didn't just accuse Alicia Bollinger of the things that she did. I'm willing to testify in a court of law, and have been this whole time. It's not my fault that the police refused to do their jobs. Now, Boulder Police Department, they really didn't care what I had to say before Natalie died. But once it was all over the media, yeah, they had to make sure that they shut my voice down, and they did everything in their power, including assaulting me and slandering my name. Now, why is it, if I'm such a terrible person, why is it that they dropped the charges? It's because they assaulted me and they didn't want to get sued. But they also did everything they could to prevent me from being able to have a day in court. Their officers outright threatened, harassed, intimidated, and assaulted me to prevent me from making a police report against them. You goddamn right I'm going to speak out. Now, after Natalie died, and there was all that slander on the news, why do people always have to do that? You know, they drive around the corner and then they super speed up when they see me, or they drive by and they honk their horn, or scream profanities out the window at me. Some of them even throw shit at me. And you say, Sean, you deserve this. Really? I deserve all these people's hatred? No, the fuck I don't. I have these people's hatred because I was never allowed to defend myself. Now, the courts, they claimed that I wasn't trying. Officer Amanda Jonas, in specific, wrote down that I wasn't trying to get help. Literally, every bit of my disability money was going to court dates and to see public pretenders and to go see, and mind you, the public pretenders didn't show up, and those court dates were just postponed and postponed and postponed. These are in areas of Colorado where I am victimized because of what was said on the media. And I have to go back to these places and spend all of my money. I went to over 20 court dates. Over 20 of them. And for each one of those court dates, I had to go see a public pretender on a different day, costing me $100. And supposed to go see an investigator. And literally none of the investigators show up. Never. No show, no call, nothing. So I make it there and they're not there. And imagine how that made me feel. All of my money got spent. Now, if you imagine 20 court dates in 7 months, and then 20 public pretender visits in those 7 months, and then 20 investigator visits who never showed up. That's 60 visits at $100 a pop. That is literally $6,000. $6,000. And in a 6-month period, at that point in time, I made around $6,000. So every penny of it was spent. And then they say I wasn't trying. I was going to see therapists. And that cost money too. And it wasn't my money. Other people were giving me money and saying, oh, well, Sean, we're helping. Well, thank you for your help. I'm not ungrateful for that help. But that doesn't detract from the fact that the amount that I had versus the amount that I got for disability, and mind you, disability is not enough to live on. You cannot live on $600 a fucking month. And how much was I getting every month? other than that? Was the money that people were sending me, did it replace $600 worth a month? No, it fucking didn't. I had to pay vehicle insurance. I had to pay to go see people. I had to pay to go see therapists, and I was going to see therapists. The police outright lied and slandered me intentionally. They did not bother to check their facts, just like the media did not bother to check their facts. You want to be a piece of shit to me because I do these things back? Which things in specific? Well, every time I get harassed, I speak out about it, and I harass one of the people who should have come forward, one of the people who promised, one of the people who stole my money or stole my resources. And it is stealing. I do consider what Tabitha Michelle Cook did stealing. I consider what Peaches did stealing. Do you know why? Because what I paid for was goods and services that were not delivered. Did I literally pay Miss Peaches? No. I mean, sure, I gave her money for gas when my vehicle was busted. But what I spent my money on was to go see her because of the help that she promised and never delivered. I spent that money on gas. I spent that money on food because she promised and never delivered. I do consider that theft. That's stealing days of my life. Now, when my name was slandered on the media and it started hitting these web sleuth groups, I was made a target the whole world over. The whole world over. People were trying to destroy everything that I said, destroy every Facebook post, calling everything that I typed spam. You have any idea how much that hurts? Meanwhile, I have to be able to defend myself against the public, which means I need to be able to show the public the truth. Now, how do you do that when you have to make your Facebook private so these web wingnuts can't go through and call everything spam? How do you do that? And I was never allowed to show evidence in court, not even once. After those over 20 court dates that I went to, well, that's when I did desperate shit. That's when I did desperate shit to try to force an outside agency to take a look. To try to force the Secret Service and the FBI to take a look. Now, instead of doing what you guys did, which is go after somebody innocent, what I did was decide who is it that did me wrong in all of this. Because I'm not going to go lighting a fire at someone innocent. I'm not just going to pick some random stranger. No, I picked somebody in specific. I picked somebody who had done me wrong. Somebody who had stolen from me. Somebody who had assaulted me. That would be Ken Leah Plunkett and Dawn Bird. If I'm going to go light a fire to try to force the police to take a look, I'm not going to go light somebody innocent's stuff on fire. After 8 months of being harassed, threatened, assaulted, intimidated, I finally had to do something desperate. I threatened to kill the people who threatened to kill my loved ones. But I didn't do it in a message. Oh no, I did it publicly because I'm not a coward. Being scared doesn't make you a coward. Being scared to the point that you do nothing makes you a coward. Now, a lot of these people were helping the Bollingers. A lot of them. A lot of these people pretended like they were going to help me. People like Cara Rogers. People like Shelley Campbell and Danica Garner. People who outright lied to me. And when I called these people on lying, that's when they played victim. Just like Candace Bondurant. Candace Bondurant is the worst friend I ever had. She's one of the few people on this earth that if she contracted cancer, I'd smile about it. The more painful it is, the more I would smile. Because the pain that I have had to go through because she outright lied, it's just ungodly. I don't want to hear about your Jesus. Any of you. The worst people I have ever met in my life are all Christians, and I mean that literally. So then I must be a Satan worshiper for saying that. A lot of Christians type that shit. Many of the people who threatened to cut my throat and other similar threats wanted to call me a Satan worshiper as their excuse for the evil shit they did. You're a Satan worshiper. Really? That's what I come to expect from Christians. You do evil things and persecute others. And then you make excuses, knowing that they're outright lies, but it doesn't matter because it makes you feel better. If you call somebody a Satan worshiper, it makes it okay to threaten their life. If you call somebody a Satan worshiper, it makes it okay for you to drive down the road and throw your beer bottles at them. Fuck you, you're a coward. I stood up to everyone for a reason. If it's all right for people to harass me and threaten me, how is it not okay for me? That's what I want to know. I'm fighting for equality here. You guys expected me to just lay down and take it, and I will not. Give me liberty or give me death. And that is how it is. Now, the problem with most of these people is they have too much luxury and comfort. They have no idea what this is like. People like Amanda Engeline, Lana Engeline, who have always had people to bail them out when they fuck up. Meanwhile, if you're homeless, you don't have to fuck up. All you have to be is homeless, and it's okay to victimize you. Everything that you can do in a house is illegal out here. You can smoke weed in your house and not get bothered, but you can't do that outside. You can use a blanket, but you can't do that outside. You can go pee, but you can't do that outside. They're all illegal. Of course, I'm referring specifically to Boulder, Colorado when it comes to that. But the fact is, this bullshit is nationwide. Also, Eric Christopher Schwartz, you're a fucking coward.